Hey everybody, I am so happy to have Mike back, Mike Paterson of Sasquatch, Ontario. This is part 2. I've been really looking forward to this, and I know you all have too. So we're going to continue where we left off in the adventures with Neff and the family, and delve deeper into everything that they represent, they reveal, and what they know. And just, yeah, I'm just really happy to have you, Mike.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate being here.
I think everybody's been waiting for part 2. So
Okay.
this is sweet. Last time we didn't really get a chance to talk about communicating with them through writing and through artwork, or the pictures that they have. And I know you're going to send me some, so I'm going to include them in the video, but maybe we can go into how that started and the things that they drew for you and what they mean, and how you figured out what they mean, because some of them are not easy to interpret. And do
Yeah.
they help you interpret it? Is there something that happens where you might get kind of like a download of it?
I don't know if I've ever really been given a download on any of the writings, but yeah, I've asked other questions to help me understand things.
Right.
When it first started, I had bought this whiteboard that erases off and stuck it in the woods. Made a drawing of one of them and me, pretty crappy drawing. my artwork skills are subpar. And when I went to collect it, they had drawn a line, this long squiggly line, and connected the two of us. So that was exciting. And so I did that a couple times. And then things moved in front of that started off in the woods. Then things moved in front of Dwayne's cottage, where there was a notepad with crayon and had drawn, I think, a little glyph on it and wrote friend, and they had marked it. And then, so, that showed me they were coming close and doing that, because, still trying to figure stuff out. Right.
Right.
And, over time, it developed to where I bought a small chalkboard and sketch pads, just dollar store stuff. And then, started leaving it on the kitchen table indoors because of the activity that was happening indoors. And I started asking questions and getting responses. Some of the questions at first would be, I can't think of the questions offhand, but it wasn't for like a yes or no answer. So I would get excited, and then I'd ask a few questions and I'd get a few answers, and I wouldn't know what was what. So I had to kind of tone it down.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, I developed things where I ask questions where I can basically get a yes or no answer to it, although it's not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
They'll write words. They've written other language down a couple times, I think. And for the most part, it's English, and they used to write yes or no, but now it's just a Y or an N,
Mm-hmm.
or a Y/N, yes and no. Like I asked, are you human? Y/N, yes and no.
Which means they are half human, half something else.
Well, definitely part human, yes,
Part, yeah,
which is easy to see with their feet, anyways.
yeah, yeah.
And this is something that basically science avoids using that term
Mm-hmm.
human. They'll say
Mm-hmm.
hominid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they are people, while science is still trying to push this Gigantopithecus
Yes.
connection, which is it's not at all. Um,
Did you
they
ever ask them that?
no, I don't have to. I already
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You know, um, they base the whole Gigantopithecus thing off of a few teeth and
Mm-hmm.
a partial mandible.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they've ever found.
Yeah.
So they think this long lost extinct species that once roamed Asia and crossed the Bering Land Strait. This is their assumption or their theory,
Yeah.
uh, based on a few teeth and a partial jawbone, basically,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I hear this stuff, I just,
Yeah. I
I,
know.
I can't watch the shows on this subject because
No,
it,
because it's I mean, you should see what it's like taking archaeology in university. It's ridiculous. When when they start going into the different species and their theories, it's in the missing links, and it's just clearly they don't know. Um, so what languages have they written in?
I'm not sure. I'm not like I'm visualizing one page that happened one night, and I'd written a bunch of questions down, and I got all these answers,
Hmm.
and they were in a different language, but some of it was written in English. Like I asked, "Where do your people come from?"
Yeah.
They wrote "home here always,"
Oh.
but there was some word like Squame Bush, Squamebush, I think, or CH, or I can't remember. I couldn't understand what that had to do with. They had written down a language that they said they speak here. So they actually put this word, and then they wrote speak here with an arrow. So
Oh.
basically saying this is the language we speak here. But I tried looking it up. I can't find anything on it, unless it has another
Mhm.
name in it.
Do you think that they're do you think that they know all languages?
Yes, I've asked them that. They know all language, and they feel the meaning of words. It's an energetic thing. They gave me
Um,
that. They gave me that experience once, actually. Allowed me to when I was given this vision back in 2013. It came with the words, "Soon your people will know," and this was about them exposing their existence.
mhm.
And I didn't hear the words. I felt them, but there was clarity, undeniable clarity. It wasn't audible.
Mhm, mhm.
Whereas I've also heard their vocals
Mhm.
audibly, in my head.
Yeah.
First time where I got grunted, I got a grunt in my
Mhm.
head. I was asleep on the couch, and I shot to my feet like instantly. It woke me right up, like boom, and it was really loud and very clear.
Mhm.
And there's been other incidents, since, but it wasn't like that. It was inaudible, but it was still clear as day, and it allowed me to understand how they could understand all language.
Right. Did you ever ask them how long they've been here on Earth?
I asked them if they were the first people. They said yes.
Okay.
So uh,
Millions of years?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you ever ask them if they recall in their lineage memory huge catastrophes that, you know, we're talking about like what happened prior to 12,000 years ago? I'm just curious if
Yeah, I haven't really
yeah.
delved into that. It's a slow process. I
Hmm.
wish I could sit down and have a conversation like this and
Yeah.
and have a long list of questions and ask, because they are definitely the um, the connection to our true history.
Right. Yeah, and I think they would have absolute memory and knowledge about what happened, you know, how we got
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I think they probably can access the Akashic records and just
Yeah.
know everything. It seems that way, anyways.
Did they ever tell you what their other part is? Like they're half human and half something else. Did they ever say what that something else is?
No,
No.
I've asked them who created humans, and I didn't get a response, so I changed my questioning.
Yeah.
Just I asked them, did the Anunnaki create humans? And they said yes. And then I asked, do we have the same creator? There are people on ours, and they
Mhm.
said no.
Okay.
So
So they were before the Anunnaki.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that answer. I just, I'm just
Hmm.
relaying what I was told, right?
Yeah. And
I
they,
don't know.
oh. Do they ever, have you ever asked them anything about a particular galaxy that they relate to or a particular star system? Have they
No.
ever written anything? Because they seem to know the nature of reality and,
Yeah.
how everybody talks about whether this is a flat earth or not, or if we're in a dome. I mean, the Bible says we're in a dome, it's a
They
firmament.
say that too.
Hmm. Yeah. So,
They've drawn it.
right. So, I'm going to include, can you send me that one and then I can include it in the video for people to see? So they drew that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sun and moon underneath it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just saying here, that's what we're in. Do you know why?
And sorry. And I've asked them, can they go outside of that? They said yes.
They can travel in and out at their will,
Yeah.
but yet they choose to be here.
I don't know what
Yeah.
kind of traveling they do, but yeah, Earth is their home, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do they ever give you a sense of, okay, because in my mind, I'm thinking humankind is pretty dangerous, right? I mean, um, utterly destructive. We have evidence of that over and over and over again. It just seems to be that, we can't seem to get it right. Do they ever talk about that? Do they ever talk about where humans are going in all of this and what we're doing, what the future is if this isn't stopped?
Now they're very secretive.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps they're not allowed to tell. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to worry us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm quite sure there's a shitstorm coming,
Yep.
and they know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, part of why they are exposing their existence, as they do. This very slow,
Mm-hmm.
methodical process.
Yeah.
Um, I ask questions that sometimes they're, pre-written, other times they're, spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't always get answers. Sometimes I have to
Oh, okay.
rearrange a question, like I said, when, who created humans?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't understand what their concept of God is yet in comparison to how humans think.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it's probably different,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's a slow process.
Yeah, they seem to be very because they're truthful. I find I've read some accounts where people had experiences in the way that humans talk. We sometimes double speak, so we'll not be honest. But in your experience, have you found that you have to be very literal?
Um, when I ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I tend to be, as well as clear as I can be, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I may write a question down, but I may say it out loud a little differently with a little more detail,
Right.
um, to be as clear as possible,
Right.
so nothing gets convoluted in the response, if there is a response. but sometimes, I get messed with.
Yeah.
And yeah, and this is Ninyanin, man. I tell you, at one point, because I learned apparently they know if we have any disease, right? So I had asked them, do I have cancer or parasites? And they wrote yes to both. And I said, what kind of cancer? And then and then he drew a brain and he wrote brain. So he basically told, and Dwayne's outside while this is going on. So I stick my head out the door. Hey, apparently I have cancer. Oh, apparently I have brain cancer. And then I was given a few more times because now I'm like keeping cool, but like what's going on here? And then I got no, and Mike, no C, and they were very adamant, no, no, no. And then I had asked, was that Ninyan? And they basically said yes and wrote ha ha, that he was messing with me, right? Bugger.
So he's the young one, right? He's like a young teenager.
Yeah, probably about a 7 foot tall young teenager. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just goofy, young. He thinks
Loves
it's
magic
funny.
mushrooms too.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, probably giving him about, I don't know, 30 to 40 grams by now over, at least a dozen visits.
Does he
Yeah,
ask for it?
he has.
Yeah.
He has, and he's gone right in my bag before I've even pulled them out too. I've
So he
taken.
knows you have him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
He's even okay, last visit. Dwayne and I will sit at the table talking all night. We'll have a few beers,
Yep.
and it's like, something's in my beer. Get to the bottom, piece of mushroom, right? You know how alcohol will pull stuff, you know. So, I was feeling it just slightly, right? Just very,
Oh, what a brat.
like I wasn't high or anything, but I could tell there was a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the time I got my beer down, it's like,
Is that his love talk? Is that the way he like,
just being funny.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Is he the one that does that the most and everybody else doesn't really do stuff like that?
I think so. I think it's all, the first time he did it, um, I found out years ago, sometimes I have allergy attacks and found out years ago that microdosing a piece of psilocybin would alleviate my allergy attack. So I used to carry a piece on me.
Mm-hmm.
I had it was a 2.5 gram piece in a pill container in my, in my bag or whatever. And it disappeared one night. Dwayne doesn't like this stuff, so, well, obviously I still asked him,
Mm-hmm.
even though,
Yeah.
he's not a, he's not a thief. He doesn't need to
Yeah.
take anything from me. You want something, just ask me. I give it to you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But, so that first night, so this was, like I said, I learned by mistake, and I was in my tent that night, and then had audio running out my tent, and I'm quite confident it's Nin Yan and yelling for, running around the woods yelling at about 7, I think 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And so I got a audio piece. I think it's about 7 minutes long with him periodically, throughout, just yelling his head off. He's higher than a kite. Right?
My God.
And I asked them, just for the hell of it, are magic mushrooms bad? I asked
Yeah.
them that. They got, I got no, which I already knew, it's
Mm-hmm.
something from the earth, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do they
Yeah.
usually like to do a gift exchange? I mean, is that a part of their culture?
I'm at the part or point where I don't even gift outdoors. I
Mm-hmm.
gift indoors on the kitchen counter, end of the kitchen counter. I'll
Yeah.
leave a bag of mushrooms there for them. They're gone pretty quickly every time. And sometimes you leave something in its place. One
Like
time, a couple of big French fries. It's a dude,
he
or
left a couple of French fries.
a big French fry.
Oh my God.
Like,
What else
uh,
has he left for you?
marbles and these little kind of plastic fake glitter things, or like the last time I did it, a handful of this stuff, right? They're like
Yeah.
little plastic pieces for making artwork, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
I got quite a bunch of that stuff, and yeah, it's,
Do you
interesting.
do you think do you get food and things like that? A lot of people
Um,
do.
yeah, sometimes,
Yeah.
but I've backed off on that a lot because over the years they don't tend to really touch it. Even though sometimes I still do.
Yeah.
I brought some muffins, blueberry muffins, not long ago this winter, and
Yeah.
one disappeared, and it ended up in my camera bag. Um, I brought apples sometimes. Remember once they took a bite, left
Hmm.
it on the railing outside front door, and I saw it quite quickly because it was still hadn't turned brown yet. You know how fast
Yeah.
that brown, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I've given a pie that wasn't touched, ended up being a marble put inside of it.
Oh
Uh,
my.
there was Dwayne would bring pepperonis quite often. He'd buy this bag of pepperonis that would have I think about 15 in them.
Yeah.
And, excuse me. And at the first time they started disappearing, and he asked me, "Hey, did you take some pepperonis?" I said, "No, I haven't touched it. I'm not gonna do that. I would ask, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And so he mentioned, seems like there's less, And we started counting them, and they started disappearing. But it was even one night there was the package wasn't even open yet. It was sealed, and I counted it like 3 times. Okay, there's this many in there, and
Wow.
they were still disappearing. The sealed package, just like a marble inside of a pie that's not
Yeah.
touched, or
Yeah.
they put a little kid's toy inside of a container of um, what do you call it? Contact lens cleaner. That's you can't open
No.
those up. No.
So
Yeah,
they have the ability to alter the frequency so that matter becomes like space essentially, and they can just insert whatever and remove whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got a picture. I don't have that camera here, but little point and shoot camera,
Hmm.
and they put an image on that camera where it's showing the internal shutter mechanism, looking through it, where you can see
Whoa.
the other end of the lens, and see the cottage door and the kitchen. It's an impossible shot. You can't do it. It's
Right.
impossible,
Yeah.
except it's not, obviously. But, and I tried, um, you know, I tried to recreate the photo with another
Yeah.
camera to look through. You
Yeah.
can't see,
But you can't do
you,
it.
you can't see the internal mechanisms like
No.
it shows.
Can you? Are you able to? Did you want to send that picture for me to include it?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So I just want to make sure it's at the right
Yeah,
time.
you have to give me a list so I can,
Yeah, I will. So do you think they like tampering, like tinkering with technology? Because it seems like it's very easy for them to do that.
it's very easy for them to do that. They've hijacked my phone. You know, when they first started doing this, you try and tell people that Sasquatch know how to use a phone, they'll think you're just batshit crazy. But
Mm,
I'm at the point, I don't care,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
even though I still,
Yep.
wary about, not necessarily wary, but about who I speak to about this stuff. But they my phone has been hijacked um, by Ninyan, and he we used to call Neff Mr. Funny at the beginning before we knew his name, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Always trickster, always having fun at our expense. But Ninyanin, he's a little more hardcore. So yeah, he's gotten hold of my phone. They show that they know how to manipulate, text, or I've even gotten a voicemail from them, right?
What?
After I made a joke about that happening, the first time they got hold of my phone, I'd made a joke about I made a joke that night to Dwayne. I said, "Yeah, watch next. I'll be getting a voicemail," and I got that on the way home. So my phone didn't ring, and it showed no information. Didn't say private number or anything, just nothing. So my phone has never ever done that before or since.
Yeah.
None of my phones have. And when I played it back, it was vocalization from them. If you want to write that down, I'll send that to you too. And
Yeah.
so I had made a joke about that happening, just joking about it, not thinking that this was even possible that it would happen. And then it happened on the way home. And I got on the phone to Dwayne right away and told him, I said, "You're not going to believe this." And, let him
And what
hear that.
and they were just vocalizing, like just to let you know
Yeah,
it
it's
was
just
them.
this long, crazy vocal on the recording.
Have they
And
ever done that with the TV?
TV,
Yeah.
no, I've never noticed any incidents with the television. I have with the computer. In fact, I did an interview with Kerry Arnold. He's no longer with us, but did an interview with him way back. It should be still online. That was a Bigfoot Odyssey, and there's two incidents in there where I would bet the farm they're vocalizing over top of us as I'm telling stories. Right, I'm telling a story about a wolf encounter, pack of wolves
Mhm.
that I had run into with Jen, and then while I'm telling that, there's this loud, sharp bark over top of everything, and then I was telling somebody had asked a question, what do you think they are? And I said something to the effect that it wouldn't surprise me if they were alien. And then there's this big what, that comes over top. So it's like when I listen back to that, I know that's them. I know what they're capable of.
Mhm.
Well, some of what they're capable of. So yeah, the phone stuff. Um, I've had to learn to keep my phone on me, keep it very close, and keep my eye on it.
Yeah.
Because he's gotten hold of it and sent off some very rude texts.
Ooh,
Yeah, I had some explaining to do to my father because he
oh,
thinks I'm demons too, right? So, and then another
what?
friend of mine, Leanne, she got one. Another friend of mine, Barb, she got one. Then my bass player, Larry, he got one. Although he got the least, his was just some garbled letters and stuff, but the rest of them, yeah,
What did
rude.
what did he say? What was his jokester self saying?
Well, he wrote fag to my dad.
Okay, he does crack me
He
up.
said, he said, "I love you" to Barb. It's like, okay, I
Yeah.
don't mind. That's okay. It's not so bad, even though I told her, that's not me, Barb.
Yeah.
And Leanne, let's, I don't want to say, let's drop an F bomb there. So I had some explaining to do to her, but she gets it because she knows they're interdimensional, right? And
Oh, that is funny.
yeah, and it wasn't the first time. It's happened a couple other times before that, and I had to tell friends that, hey, that wasn't me.
Do you think that they can be around you without you knowing, like a lot, where they
Yeah.
can just be in your presence and yeah, they're just watching you and hanging out, but you wouldn't even know it?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
lots. Yeah, I feel I have no privacy
Yeah, they just come and go.
at all, and not even them, not even just them. I was told by them there's others watching me, both bad humans and non-humans that
Oh,
I am watched by.
non-humans,
Yeah,
like aliens
I don't know.
or other kinds of cryptids?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
didn't get I didn't get any other details on that. So
D-
I have had a like a ET contact dream. So
Oh,
sure. Um,
I
and
think
then
that. Mm,
then I had another one that involved me getting the flash image of a gray,
Okay.
scanning me, basically checking me out. So
Hmm.
who
It's
knows?
interesting because I think when you have communication with Sasquatch, or some call them Sabe, what do they like to be called? Your clan.
Well, I asked them what they call their people, and they wrote Mushtaba.
Ushtaba. Okay, so usually I hear that it comes with a lot of other paranormal activity and a lot of other contact, alien and other. It's just like everything kind of just starts opening up. Have you had paranormal?
Well, the Sasquatch stuff is all paranormal,
Well,
but
yeah, but
for the
besides, yeah.
even though they're still flesh and blood physical beings,
Mhm.
it's an understanding of energy,
Yeah.
so they know the fabric of reality, how to manipulate that. But I've had, it was back in July 2018, I had two UFO incidents, and I know the first one was a cloaked ship, because both incidents, the conditions were pristine
Yeah.
where I couldn't dismiss it. It was like they made sure that, okay, there's no clouds, um,
Hmm.
going with the flow of traffic. The first one, right by Pearson Airport, north on the 400.
Right.
So it was completely clear sky, not a cloud.
Yeah.
12:30 in the afternoon, going with the flow of traffic. There's a transport just ahead of me in the lane to the left of me. Maybe, I don't know, half a dozen lanes over left, and there's a lot of lanes there. And uh, I think there was a vehicle behind that, and I was, like I said, I was going with the flow of traffic, and suddenly this huge shadow passed over top, going just a little fat, moving just at a slightly faster pace, so it would stick out. If it had gone the same speed, I wouldn't have noticed it.
Yeah.
But it was going just a little faster, just to stick it. I immediately caught on to what was going on, and I had this what the hell
Yeah.
moment. I'm not hearing anything. I stuck my head out because it had to be very low,
Yeah. Yeah.
very low to give that shadow that it did. And there was nothing there. There was no planes,
Yeah.
nothing. So I knew right then, it's like, that's a cloaked ship, man. That was put right in front of me for me to see.
Hmm.
I doubt anybody in the whole other area had a clue what was going on, because,
Right.
I'm involved in this, right?
Yeah.
And then 15 days later, I'm up in Neff's area by myself. This one was at night, crystal clear sky, uh, dead still. I mean, literally hear a pin drop that quiet. Get a lot of nights up there like that. And I'm sitting in a chair watching way off in the distance this flight path crossing. You know, there was a few planes that following this flight path, and I could see their flashing lights, no problem. Hear the engines shortly after they pass, no problem. Way off the distance, and then the way they were going at that end, you know, the way they were flying towards, a light suddenly appeared, big bright light at that end,
Mm.
and it looked like a big jumbo jet pointed right at me with its headlight. And almost immediately I noticed there was no flashing lights on it. So I stood up and I'm watching it, and it veered off that path. Well, it didn't even take that path. It just came from that area. It came right towards me, passed over the road I was on, maybe a couple thousand feet in altitude. It was hard to tell, but um, I didn't see a craft, just this big bright light, and it was dead silent, not a sound. So it wasn't a drone or anything. It was dead silence. So
You think you were abducted?
um, what, that night?
Yeah.
Not, no, I don't think so.
No.
Not that night. I don't think so. It could have happened in my life at some point,
Yeah.
maybe as a kid, or I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I've had used to have a lot of sleep paralysis incidents. There was something in the room.
Oh,
I don't
really?
I don't care what Western freaking psychologists or whatever
Yeah.
will tell you that it has something to do with your, you know,
No, those
thing.
experiences are always real, I find.
something physical.
Yeah.
No, it was
Something was there.
something was in the room. Yeah,
Yeah.
it had a
Wow.
very, very strong presence, and it's not just once. It used to happen to me quite often as a kid. Hasn't happened in decades, but
So something was watching you right from the get-go. Yeah.
yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all, actually. I mean, they would know who you are. They would know what you're capable of. And, in terms of what they know about your future, that you have the ability to communicate with Sasquatch, I think it's all correlated. Do you think there's a correlation between Sasquatch and what we know of as these alien ships?
Um, I don't know what kind of connection there is, but they would obviously be well aware of each other.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to guess at it.
Yeah.
Their abilities would allow them to probably know,
Hmm.
any species that are visiting Earth here, right?
Right.
Or that are living on Earth, or who knows.
Do they ever talk to you about other cryptids?
I've asked them about Dogman. I said, "Are
Yeah.
Dogman your people?" They said no. I asked if they were good. They said no.
Oh. So, did they tell you there's dogmen around that area they're in?
No, I've never asked them
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder how much they actually run into other cryptids.
Yeah, I've no idea.
Mhm. Do they have sigils?
Sigils?
Yeah, because you said sometimes they'll like leave you a little sigil on the board, but like I don't know if they would have like sigil type markings that they use.
Um, no, I used to use. I came up with this glyph just by myself as a means to communicate, to show presence, and it was basically the inside of a peace sign, right?
Oh, okay.
Upside down Y. I used to,
Hmm.
and they would draw that. They even left a big one in with sticks in the snow once. They gave me a hand woven gift with that shape.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah.
Do you what have they ever what is the most amazing thing that they've ever told you, maybe regarding humans or regarding, something to do with who we are or where we're going? Have they ever revealed anything?
Not really. I know that we can go invisible. I know this is fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I
Absolutely.
know it is fact.
Yeah.
And one thing I hope to learn from them.
Yeah.
Utilize that at a good time. Ever have any military or anything? I'm walking up the driveway. Poof. See ya.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Are you you're probably monitored, by them.
Oh, I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
They
totally.
told me I'm watched. Yep.
Hmm. Hmm. But I also feel like they're protecting you. So,
I don't know. Um, I don't know because there's been things that happen through this that that seems that like people or something or someone trying to harm Dwayne or uh,
oh.
with myself,
Mm.
it's just mainly through trying to discredit me, and
Mhm.
I don't know to the extent of that. I I think that any nefarious types that are watching me
Mhm.
would rather just watch me and
Mhm.
see what unfolds because there isn't many people able to show contact
Yeah.
at that level anyways with this much supporting evidence, right? There's a
Right.
couple of things out there doing this. I know that.
No, it's true though. Yeah.
They've
Absolutely.
given Yeah, they've given me supporting evidence basically
Mhm.
every visit.
Yep.
I record audio every visit, and I keep all those files. I have them. database of raw data, audio data.
Do you think a part of their job is to help us learn about our own abilities as everything unfolds and what's coming down is going to come down? Like there seems to be an awareness of time here. Like it's not a coincidence that they've all chosen at this time to start coming out and having contact with certain people, to making themselves more known. More and more people are having so many experiences, even just seeing them. Like it just seems like they're really this is a time thing.
Well, I'm quite confident they know what's coming.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
they are, um, I, I had spoken about a certain place that I had asked them before, like, why aren't your people there
Hmm.
instead of here where you would be safer? And they wrote here help. So
Yeah, so they're here to help us.
it seems that way. Yeah.
But they haven't told you anything about what about the future.
No, it's,
Mhm.
like I said, they're very secretive about that. Maybe they're not allowed to interfere. Maybe that would be
Right.
interference with human free will,
Hmm.
because suddenly I would
Yeah.
see things differently and start making different choices, or who
Hmm.
knows? I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I'm wondering if, because there's so much information coming out about us having contact with all these beings known as aliens or whatever you want to call them, interdimensionals, that they're a part of this awareness to get us to that point where we're going to have contact.
Yeah, I don't know. Quite possible. I had a gentleman on the weekend tell me some interesting stories using the Stephen Greer C5 protocol.
Okay.
He's seen 25 ships, he mentioned. And then he mentioned to me about an incident that happened down with Sega Beach where he had an encounter with three tall whites, about 8 feet tall. And I think he said their irises were multicolored, big eyes.
Wow.
Um, I can't remember the garb they were wearing, but I think they all had the same sort of garb they were wearing. And he had said something to them, and to the effect of them, not being allowed to be here. And he said the one basically bellowed at him. He said its voice was so powerful. I can't remember the exact words, but we can go wherever we want to go, basically, right? I don't know how it all ended, but I believed his story. Very
Hmm.
sincere.
Yeah, I think more and more of these things are happening. Absolutely. And I think maybe there is a part of this that has to do with them trying to help us get to the place where, we're not going to all be freaking out. Something is going to happen on a large scale, and I'm not sure if anybody can imagine what that's going to be. Have
And
they? Mm,
well, it's quite obvious that we're under attack by, there's this agenda basically to wipe out
mm,
billions of us.
yep. Yeah.
And it's funny, the whole chemtrail thing, how so many people laugh when you mention that, or just complete denial, just stupid. It's like, what does it take? Do you know what a contrail looks like?
Yeah.
You see all these crisscross across the sky. Do you know what a flight, you know,
Or do
uh,
you even remember what it was like when you were growing up? Like it seems that they don't retain that. Do you remember with the sky, what was a normal sky back then versus what we see today? But
it was,
there's not, yeah, no. I know. It is. It's
and
maddening.
apparently now the BBC, from what I was seeing on some posts, the BBC has been, basically stating, oh yeah, and there's geoengineering, trying to normalize this, right? So hey, there's your conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
True. What does it take? It blows my mind how much ignorance and stupidity is out there that
Yeah.
can't see it. Like I don't know, is there something about a certain percentage of us that it's so? freaking easy to see this stuff. It's simple.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
you
know.
say it to somebody and they think
No,
you're
I know.
completely off your rocker. And when it's the other way around, actually, they're
Yep.
completely brainwashed. Obviously, they don't know because they're brainwashed.
Yep.
And there's a level of frustration there, especially when it's family, and they're
Yeah.
completely. Oh,
Oh, it's hard to believe. It is. It's like the toilet paper incident, right? That happened before, where everybody was rushing to buy toilet paper. I
yeah,
happened to be in Costco at that time, and it happened literally in the moment I was in Costco, and I kid you not, everything went crazy. Everybody went crazy. They were fighting each other for it. It was only two of us. This man and I were the only ones standing in the middle of it all, watching in amazement and going, "What is going on?" Only two out of the whole.
everything's going to shit, but man, I gotta be able to wipe my ass.
But it was like him and I were the only ones that were able to see what was going on, and clearly, like, we were not receptive to that kind of hypnotic mind control, but everybody else was. So, um, that's a lot. That's a lot of percentage, right? Of
Yeah,
everybody being influenced. So, yeah, we are dealing. I mean, there is a war on consciousness for sure, and I'm can only imagine that the Sasquatch, I don't know what they feel about. What do they feel about us? Do they like us, or do they think in general most people are very ignorant? Or do they what do you think their perception is and their feeling is about us?
I think they love humans. Not
Mhm.
all of them. I think
Mhm.
some of them probably despise humans
Yeah.
because they see everything.
Yeah.
They know humans better than humans know humans.
Yeah.
They know everything that's going on. They
Mhm.
know about CERN. They know about the skies. They know about the jabs. They know people are dying from it. They
Yeah.
know all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
We can't hide it from them. It's their ability to navigate consciousness.
Yeah.
They understand consciousness where they, this whole everything is connected
Mhm.
thing. They just know how to navigate through it all. And so
Mhm.
there's no secrets that this is a big part of the reason why they're a threat because
Right.
they know the truth and they know what's really going on in this world. And
Yeah. And they know what the government's doing. They know
oh yeah,
the
yep,
hidden secret projects. They know all of
yep,
it. Yeah.
yep.
Do they ever tell you about because there's evidence to suggest that the government has been releasing dogmen. Like they've been tampering genetically to create probably certain hybrids and releasing them in forests.
I know nothing about that.
Yeah,
They don't tell me things. I have to ask questions,
right. Hmm.
specific questions to get answers.
So they don't ever tell you anything out of the blue.
Well, the sooner people will know.
Hmm.
And I had this other vision. I was in a facility, this massive facility. It had all these electronic games in to keep freaking human mind occupied, mindless, and
Wow.
remember I was inside there, and at one point I'm standing among dozens of them. They're all facing the same direction, just like they were in that first one that they gave me, and I was awake for that first one. The second one, I can't remember if I was awake or asleep, but the first one where they told me soon your people will know. I had just woken up, so my mind was fresh, and all of a sudden I get zapped with this vision and clarity like beyond. And so that second one, so I'm standing among them. They're all looking straight ahead, and I'm like looking at them around me. None of them are looking at me, but I'm standing among them, and then these waters start rising, and I just felt this. It was like nature taking back, basically taking over all the technology, nature
Wow.
taking back from all the evil and the technology going on,
So the
basically.
so the water rising like a tsunami or like a just a flooding or
Well, I don't think it was in a literal sense.
Mhm.
It wasn't a tsunami or anything. It was just rising waters,
Right. Yeah.
standing water, and it kept going up, and I just You know,
Interesting.
had this strong feeling about that,
Mm-hmm.
that it was nature taking back.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need a good solar flare, a maximum solar flare to wipe out the grid. That's a good question for them, eh? Is that
Yeah.
going to happen, right? Do they, so they communicate to you in dream?
Um, well, they have,
Yeah.
you know, numerous times
Mm-hmm.
about, I've met several of Neff's family members that way.
Yeah. Interesting. So they come to you in dream when, is that like a preparation for you? Is that to get you to get to know them, or what do you think the
Uh,
purpose of that?
there was one time, this, and it was back in 2015.
Mm,
Everything gone to shit for a while because of trespassing and stalking, and I was going through this roller coaster ride of emotions, dealing with this, having the rug pulled out from, and I just had 9 consecutive visits of direct verbal communication with Neff, like
yeah.
talking to him, and suddenly it's over, right? And so I was devastated, and
Yeah.
so I spent, I think it was about 15 months, even though I was still going into the area making visits, but there's a different dynamic when Dwayne and I are together or when I go by myself. We both get activity by ourselves, but when we're together, it's a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's about 15 months. And then I think they were waiting till I was calmed down enough.
Oh.
And the big guy of the family showed up in my dream. I remember I was walking this dark road, forested on both sides, and he stepped out in front of me. And I even remember thinking he was about 12 feet tall in the dream.
Mm,
And I ended up reaching my hand out to shake his, and he took my hand, but I remember I grabbed onto 2 of his fingers because his hands were so huge.
yeah.
And I didn't want to let go. And I remember looking up in his face. I can't remember details of his face, but I just remember it was a very gentle, he understood why, that I didn't want to let go yet. And then when I finally did, he turned, he took one step and disappeared into the darkness, into the woods. And I woke up. I was like, it was real, right? Or there was a time that I was living with a good friend of mine in Brampton. I was renting off him for a while. He has a house, and I told him when I moved in, um, his name's Kyle. I said, there might be some crazy stuff happen. He was open-minded. Good, good-hearted guy. We have a lot of laughs, and I remember there was I had a cat, Minus, and there was a door in the kitchen going to the backyard. And I remember the over the stove, the light and the fan. I hadn't, I was like basically fresh, just moving in there, so I never turned the fan on.
Mm-hmm.
So he would crash early because he worked at the post office. So um, crash early, right? So I was still up one night, let Minus out in the back, comes in, close the door. I go to shut the light off above the stove, and I hit the wrong switch, and I turn the fan on. It's really noisy, like, so I hit it, shut
Mm-hmm.
it off right away, and then shut the light off. 100%. No, I did all that. Next day or the next night when I see him again, he goes, "Hey, you left the door open and the light on in the kitchen." It's like, what? No, I didn't. And then that night, Neff showed up in a dream laughing at me, standing in a doorway laughing.
Oh.
They brought one of their children to meet me in that state, sleeping on the couch. And in the dream, I'm sleeping on the couch just like I was in real life.
Mm,
And I could sense an older female in my peripheral on my left. And suddenly I have this, maybe the size of a 3, 4 year old, standing in front of me. And I reached my hand out. I say she took my hand, and she was all her emotions. Like when I connected with her, I
oh.
felt all her emotions. So she was so excited, but she was so freaked out at the same time. And I was conscious enough in that state to give my hand a little shake to get a reaction from her. Not, I didn't want to scare her, but
Yeah.
I was so blown away by what I was feeling with her emotions. I wanted to feel it more. So
Mm-hmm.
my hand a little, just a little shake, and it was an explosion of her emotions ran through me, and then she didn't let go, and then shortly after, it was over, and I woke up, and again that was real, right? So yeah, so they have that ability. They understand consciousness and can command our consciousness, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that is incredible. Do you think they have the ability to also heal us?
I've heard of people being healed by them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from what I've seen with Neff's family, that's never happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's some healing that could have been done on Dwayne
Mm-hmm.
and on myself as well. But they gave me garlic once. It's funny because people say, "Oh, gift them garlic." I actually got gifted garlic from
Oh my
them.
goodness. Oh. I heard of a case where a woman her heart was shut down because she had a lot of trauma in her life. And she had an encounter with a female, and it was to heal her heart, and her whole life changed after. Yeah. So I think they can do that through frequency and affect
Yeah.
us.
Well,
Yeah.
they confirmed to me that I already was convinced, anyways, because of Royal Raymond Rife, that cancer cells can be killed by frequency.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I believe that 100%.
Yeah, they confirmed that. Yeah, back then, they quashed that, and then I had read where anybody that was promoting that, you'd be
Mm.
thrown in jail. That's big pharma for you. That's those Rockefellers. That family needs to be wiped
Wow.
out, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my Lord. That is just insane.
Oh, the whole big pharma thing. People need to wake up to this too. That hey, they've cured nothing.
And they don't want to cure
No,
anything.
all their stuff is poison. All have side effects.
Yep.
It all leads to more disease.
Yep. Yep.
That Western medicine, and they shut down the naturopathic way
Yep.
as whenever they can. Health Canada, I remember they took apricot seed and most stuff
Yes.
off the shelves,
Yep.
which helps cancer. Anything that they find out that is really helpful for cancers and that,
Mhm.
once they get wind of it, they pull it from the shelves.
Yep.
So if Health Canada says it's bad, I I look at opposite now.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's bad. Same with the FDA. If they say it's bad, it's
100.
good, bad. And if it's bad, I'm buying it in bulk.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Totally. What do you think is the most incredible thing they've ever revealed to you?
Oh, that's so
I know a
difficult.
lot. I know it's a lot. Yeah.
Um, you
Maybe give
know,
a couple examples.
um, well, the invisibility thing is
Hmm.
I think there might be some more information understanding that. Um, yeah, they've been drawing these three dots in a triangle a lot, and it has to do with that.
Hmm.
But I think there may be more to it after some recent conversation. I think there may be more to that, and on a nefarious level, possibly AI. I'm not sure yet. I have to ask questions next time I get
Okay.
like basically eye in the sky. They're
Oh.
possibly, I think this AI technology is a lot bigger than they're letting us know.
Hmm. Hmm. What do you think the pyramid, like the triangle, means? Because it's
Uh,
three dots. So the triangle, is that representing AI, or is that,
I don't know.
yeah, they haven't said. From the last time we did the part one, have you been able to have conversations or ask questions since then?
How long ago was that?
That was a few months ago, like three
Yeah,
months. Yeah, 4 months.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'd have to dig through stuff. Right?
so in the in this past stretch of time, with your communication with them, what stands out? Did they
Um,
draw anything new, or I'm just curious to see if you've asked them any questions from the last time that we spoke.
I can't even honestly
Yeah.
come up with anything offhand right now because it's just
Hmm.
so nonchalant with me
Yeah.
when I'm on location. It's
Did Neff know you did the part one interview? It's just a curiosity.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I have no idea.
How big do you think their clans are?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Because you've met, sounds like, well, how many have you met in that one family so far?
Well, they've given us, I believe it's 10 names,
10 names,
but I
right?
think there's more than that.
Yeah. And how many, I mean, I know this is guessing, but how many clans do you think would be living in the area?
Not a clue.
No. Do you think it's quite a few?
Um, Possibly.
Yeah.
I I have no idea
Yeah.
about their numbers. Once I had asked them how many of your people are there, they wrote 10,000. I think they were just messing with me.
Okay. Yeah.
10,000. Yeah.
Yeah, they were messing, I think. Yeah, and I'm wondering if, because there's different, they seem to look different in different regions.
Oh, this is a question for my next visit. Do your people have different races as humans do?
Hmm.
Because
Right.
Neff's nose is unique in comparison to everything else I've seen.
Hmm.
And you
Right.
know what kills me too? People, oh, those are masks. It's like, well, hey, search the internet, find me two masks, not one, find two that match that.
Hmm.
And then, if you think about it, if you're going to hoax something, you're
Hmm.
going to do it in a forest setting, and you're going to make it, um, you're not going to do something with something that's completely different from everything else. And
Hmm.
this is the frustrating part in dealing with humans
Yeah.
with this. It's just like no common sense.
No,
Oh, it's
no,
just
no, no, not at all. I know. It is
uh, no,
absolutely.
yeah, no critical thinking skills, no observation skills.
Yeah. Just a
Um,
lot of criticism.
yeah,
Hmm.
I get it that it's very difficult to comprehend
Hmm.
because there's
Yeah.
nothing else out there really at that level like this, even though there are others that have this contact and even more.
Hmm.
But they're not say they're not gathering the supporting evidence that goes with that. They
Hmm.
don't care. Some of them are likely just secretive about it. You
Yeah.
know, I'm just given this. I just went with it. Right?
Hmm.
Wasn't my intention to do this. It just
Hmm.
happened, and I just rolled with it.
I think
And
you were picked, Mike. I think this was destiny.
well, I'll tell you this. You know the whole thing with having a knowing. It's
Yeah.
just a no.
Yeah.
And when I first started seeking them out, I believe they planted that seed to do that.
Hmm.
And then I started having experiences immediately. First
Right.
time, second time, third time, I went in. And and then the second time was, well, the first time was out up near Bon Echo area in um, I guess northeast of Toronto, a few hours up, and heard one screaming in the morning over and over. I remember I found a piece of audio, some guys breaking down their camp and could hear a Sasquatch vocalizing in the distance. And it was like, hey, that's it. And actually, that first time I had my buddy Kyle with me, who you mentioned that earlier story. We were camping that weekend, and we had gone up there specifically because of that. Like I did, anyways. I would just say,
Right.
hey, come on, man, let's go camping. Have
Hmm.
some Caesars for breakfast, and and then the next time was October 25th, 2008, and that's when I had heard one vocalize top end of Toronto. Right, I actually I give the location out in my last presentation there. I would never have thought in a million years that there would be activity there.
Mhm.
And that's when they really let me hear their voice. It was huge. And then I went back the next week, and that was my first bout of high strangeness. And then I spent the next 4 years going into that region, having numerous encounter incidents. It feels like I was being trained to be
Mm.
prepared for what was to come. And then 4 years later, some information comes to me about Dwayne. Never met him,
Oh,
but I didn't know him at all. As soon as I got the information about activity on purported activity on a property, up there in the
yeah.
Orthas, as soon as I got that info, I knew this is what I'm looking for. This is it. I knew.
Interesting.
I had never been there, never talked to him yet.
Yeah.
I just
Wow.
I had a very, very strong knowing. And now it's, since 2012, basically, right?
Do you think what what do you think, because clearly they've selected both of you. So have they ever relayed anything about that, or there's a reason for that. And
No,
I think they organized it too. Like I think they led you to him.
yeah, that's what
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
quite, that knowing I had, I'm quite
Hmm.
confident that it was put together.
Right.
Maybe they were just waiting to see how I was over the years,
Yeah.
making sure I got the right um, training,
Yeah.
be ready for that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it seems that it was a situation given to be part of the disclosure of their people
Right.
as bug as that's
Hmm.
what it's like,
Do you
because
think?
they know
Yeah.
everything that's going on, and
Right.
they just keep giving, right?
Do you think they bilocated to that location, just in Toronto, or do you think that was a different clan
No,
that
I
they
think
were
that was
working together?
probably working together. I think that not the
Yeah.
same clan, just like behind my place here, it's
Hmm.
not that family.
Okay. And do you have communication with the clan behind where you are?
No, very they've been very elusive.
Yeah.
I know they show up.
Hmm.
There's been incidents over the years, numerous incidents over the years.
Yeah.
Um, I believe the most recent one. So when I started going into that area where I had that first vocal encounter,
Hmm.
banging on trees then, right? So I used to do this wood knock, this bang, bang, short pause, bang.
Hmm.
That was my greeting, basically.
Hmm.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I would do that all the time, every time I go there. And one time I get out of my car there's a parking lot there. There's a bunch of cars in there. So, there's people in there. People walk the trails, walk their dogs, horseback ride through there. And, that's the place where I got my first vocal encounter.
Right.
And I get out of my vehicle, walk around the other side to get my stuff. And I hear really loud too, bang, 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 come out of the woods. I'm like, what the hell? There's no way it's a human,
Hmm. Yep.
because, I just got here. Nobody knows what I'm doing.
Hmm.
So back here, I don't know, a couple years ago now, maybe, behind the house, there was one night I'm back there with Jen, and it was about 1 in the morning, maybe. Early, like, landlord's here. Earlier on, my landlord had said to me, goes, earlier on that night, hey, I heard some wood knocks out back. So I said, okay, I'll go check it out later. Went back there about 1 a.m. And there's a lot of wind that night, but so we walk back there, and suddenly we're standing there just looking at the woods. I get knock, knock. knock in my left ear, telepathic, because it was clear as day. She didn't hear it, and it was only in one ear. So it was bang, bang,
Oh.
bang, exactly how I used to do. And then suddenly he walked right in front of us, a young one. I didn't see his form; she did, but we both saw his heard his footsteps and saw the leaves kicking up as he walked. I think he
Oh.
I think he took three, then two steps, or two, then three steps, like
Mhm.
a short little break in between,
Yeah.
like very, very brief. But you could hear and see his footsteps. And it was only like 6, 8 feet in front of us.
Oh.
So there was, I put my audio out back the other, I don't know, a week ago or so, and strapped it to a tree. And, I talk to them. I say, hey, it'd be amazing to hear you guys. Well, I got actually, I can play it here for a sec. So I got this recording that night that, where is it here? Here it is. Listen. Did you hear that?
No, maybe put it right up. Why can't I hear that?
I don't know.
Can you send that? And maybe I can
Yeah,
include it
it's
that way?
actually like it's right at the intro of my video I posted today.
Okay.
It's also at the end of the last video I before that called Not a Wolf.
Okay.
So that happened at 4, quarter after 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's very unusual for that to happen. There are some distant calls, which I think
Mhm.
that's why that's happening, but it sounds canine, but
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I just listened to your video and it does sound like canine.
there was one visit. Dwayne and I are sitting indoors Saturday afternoon,
Mhm.
and we know it was Neff's family.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, right outside the cottage wall, it was so loud it sounded like it was indoors. This long, drawn out wolf howl.
Yeah.
And they were showing us, hey, we make these sounds. So that to me seems to be I lean towards it being a young male Sasquatch because it's just once. It's not a pack of coyotes or anything, but not that morning, but the very next morning, I got woken up. My bedroom window is facing the woods. I got woken up by bang, bang, bang on my window. And
Mm.
I was out of bed immediately. Like I was there within 3 seconds. Nothing there. Went to the door. Nothing there. No, and nobody does that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not here.
Right.
Um, there was one night I put my audio recorder out back, and I got literally at least 5 dozen wood knocks from all different directions, all different proximities throughout the night, way off in distance, close, every which way, loud, very subtle. And then before I exited the house at about 6 something in the morning to go get my recorder, the loudest just before I exit, so I didn't hear it till the playback. The loudest, like just bang on this tree right there. And then as I'm walking towards the recorder, there is a big crack right near the microphone. I didn't hear it till I played it back, but that's them saying,
Yeah.
it's us.
Mm-hmm.
So they know I'm recording, and that's
Yeah.
what all those wood knocks were for, because
Yeah.
they know I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna listen to this, and
So the wood knocks, they appear to be a part of their language. Do they wood knock with each other? Are they,
yeah,
does that mean something?
I would assume it does.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's different meanings because there is interactions with us with the wood knocks as well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think that I don't know if they're actually banging trees. I've been given a telepathic, wood knocks there.
Mm-hmm.
One time when Dwayne and I are on location, we'll usually take a little bit of a nap. He'll go crash in his room. I'll crash on the couch, and the one time as soon as I open my eyes, I get this. bang, a single wood knock in my head, you know.
Yep, yep. Well, and they can mimic the sounds. That's, what you were saying in your video with the howling or the it sounded, yeah, like a big wolf or something.
They mimicked one night or one day three revs from a snowmobile engine. We had just pulled up on one,
Whoa.
cut the motor, and we hear these revs from a snowmobile engine nearby. There was no other snowmobiles nearby, but what was interesting was there was no engine running.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Interesting. Yep.
yeah.
So
So I've learned that they can create and recreate smells, turn them
yes.
on, off like a light switch. Like these are facts,
Yeah.
experience, and they can direct it to an individual,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have somebody sitting right beside you, standing right beside you, and they'll smell nothing if they
Mm-hmm.
want that to happen.
Yep.
So they can create and recreate smells. I think they can do the same with sounds.
Right. Yeah, and the people that are smelling something really foul, it's to get them away. Wouldn't that?
Not necessarily because it's been done
No?
to us.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
really?
that's Nin Yanin. Yeah, I think he's just
He's just
showing off
messing.
his skills. Oh, he's gotten all kinds of smells, and some of it's shit. Like farm animals or dog crap. I'd looked bottom of my shoe thinking I got dog crap on my shoe.
Oh,
Or sulfur. He's even done sulfur. And,
really?
this is both
Wow.
indoors and out. I
Mm-hmm.
remember he showed up at a workplace shortly after this started happening with the smells. It was going on well, it's still going on. And so it had to do with the dog crap. And I remember I'm in this workplace and I suddenly smelt that around me. I looked at my bottom of my shoes. It was very brief, very subtle, but it was there. And then when I went out to my locked car, I had this thing hanging from my rear view mirror. It had been wrapped around and tied. So they've done that wrapped around a few
Mm-hmm.
times, but this time they actually tied it. I've had activity happen in my car on multiple occasions,
Mm-hmm.
and I've actually captured a vocal on my dash cam in the vehicle with both Dwayne and I in the vehicle
Yeah.
driving a back road, on location, and we had company with us, right?
Yeah, in the car.
Yeah.
Do they ever talk to you about demons?
No,
Like anything from, the realm of all,
no,
we're all.
they don't. Like I said, that we're not having a conversation
No,
with.
I know.
They're not
Yeah.
talking to us. I have to ask specific questions, and they
Mhm.
don't answer all the questions, right? So it
That might
comes.
be an interesting one to ask. Like, what are their thoughts on, demons and creatures that are, in the other realms that are here interacting, right? Um, I'm curious about the information regarding radiation because some people say that they can emit radiation.
And where do these people get that? Are they using
Yeah.
some reader or something? And
Yeah, I don't
when
know.
it's happening, because I see so much.
Yeah.
Oh, X means stay out, or red eyes mean they're
Yeah.
evil. Bullshit. Where
Or
do you
they
get?
or
How do
they
you?
say infrasound as well. So, yeah. Have you ever had
That I
yeah.
believe because
Yeah,
I've experienced it.
right. The infrasound. Right. And that
I
like at certain times it can make people sick, right? If they really want you gone,
Yeah.
they'll hit you with a high frequency that way.
Well, I had it happen a week after my first close vocal encounter, where I didn't get sick or anything, but they
Mhm.
made me leave without me knowing what was going on.
Ooh,
And I ended up in my vehicle. I'm driving home and keep my head a shake. It's like, how the hell did I get here?
really?
Yeah, I didn't remember leaving.
And why do you think they wanted you out of there?
Well, I was just right at the start there and
Mhm.
didn't know what I was dealing with. I had my camera, video. It was my intention to
Yeah.
get the photo of a lifetime, right?
Oh.
So I had
Mhm.
all my gear, binoculars, I had everything on me, and I
Mhm.
knew they were right there. I did know they were right there beside me because I had heard this triple chest thump sound that I heard
Mhm.
the week before with the whoops that changed my
Right.
life. this kind of gorilla chest thumping hollow sound happened immediately before the call. And
Mhm.
then I heard that exact same sound a week later, right beside me before they made me leave. I was alone when that
Interesting. So they
happened.
bilocate.
Yeah, their ability to move.
Yeah.
It, yeah. Well, one night, there's a bay there at Dwayne's, and we're sitting outside, and we hear, can't remember what it was, vocals on the other side, and suddenly they just went boom, 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 and they ended up behind us like that. Traveled all around the bay. It was just literally a few seconds.
Oh my
Um,
God.
or there's been a time where I've been um, on the phone with
Hmm.
Dwayne, and we know we're being listened to and stuff's going on, and
Hmm.
hey, tell Neff to come and say hi. And I've walked out back. It's midnight. This was once, and within I had walked out within 5 minutes, gone out back. I think I took about 30 steps and heard two huge wood knocks come from maybe a couple hundred yards in the woods.
Hmm.
Just that's the only time that's ever happened. But again, it's the timing is impeccable. Their timing is always impeccable.
Do you ever see a time when you'll be able to have a sit down one-on-one and just have an actual conversation?
No, I think they stay invisible
Hmm.
for the most part. It's to keep them safe.
Yeah.
We don't know what kind of tech there is, but I believe it may be AI related and very powerful to seek them out. So I believe this
Yeah.
is why, for the most part, they stay hidden.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Rightly so.
this is my thought right now. I have some questions to ask,
Hmm.
because there's some evil people out there that want to kill them, wipe them out, right? Because
Yeah.
they are a threat.
Oh, hugely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah. So we ask them all the time, or
mhm.
hey, just show yourself. Let's sit down. Let's have a chat. Grab a beer out of the fridge. Come on, let's talk. But
Mhm. They don't
no,
seem to be too worried about the threat of these nefarious, people that and government agencies that want to destroy them. They don't seem to be very worried about it.
no, not. I guess not in that state of invisibility, right?
Yeah,
That
right.
them safe.
Hmm. So they can emit heat. They can basically activate their electromagnetic heat signature or diminish it, right? Like they can just alter.
I believe that they can shift their vibration to different frequencies. I
Hmm.
believe. I don't know. I believe that.
Do you think they can kind of cloak themselves so that they could be in front of a tree, but they look like the tree, almost like a camouflage?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah,
And I think they can go invisible but still be there physically, because
right.
there one visit Dwayne walked into him
Oh, really?
and he
He
fell
walked
down.
into him?
Yeah, fell down on his ass. Yeah, I have the audio where he yells out an F bomb.
Oh, so he actually like ran into him.
Well, walked into him. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then what happened after?
Well, we were sitting outside. It was
Yeah,
dark. He landed on his ass, and
yeah,
I'm like, what the hell happened? I just
yeah,
walked into him.
yeah, yeah. That is fascinating. Have you ever had any odd, unexplainable experiences when you're out there in the woods of maybe encountering something different? Like
I don't know.
other, no.
Well, I was in Mendocino up in California one time and went into this place. It was so bone dry. I was scared to be in there because
Oh.
it was so dry. It was insane. I think it's probably burnt down by now. It was insanely dry, and we were just there one night, and it was so dead still. And I got a telepathic snarl that woke me up that did not sound like Sasquatch at all. It was insane. And I wish I had it
Whoa.
recorded. I had audio running outside my tent, and And I remember waking up and I wasn't even afraid. I thought, oh, right on, that's going to be on the audio. It wasn't. It was in my head. Woke
Wow.
me up though. It was like, it was the nastiest, scariest snarling I ever heard in my life, you know?
Like a growling
It
creature.
wasn't even a growl. It was beyond.
Oh my God.
It, maybe a
Yeah.
dog man like something. It was not Sasquatch.
Hmm.
That's my thought anyways, right?
I think that because you communicate with Sasquatch, I think wherever you are, other cryptids and beings know it. Like,
Probably.
and I think it's almost like you're seen. You know what I mean? Like they know you. I just feel like that.
Well, considering you show up here,
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's ET dreams.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Obviously, I would think some level of awareness,
Hmm.
as I don't know, but
Yeah. I just, yeah, that's why I'm curious to know if you've had other experiences that are with different things and not Sasquatch. And
but
that
there's
one with the,
there's
mm,
lots of us out there though, right? That
yeah.
this
Yeah,
stuff going.
like I think there's, when you have these experiences, I think that you're marked differently and that it doesn't matter where you go, it's whatever's there kind of knows it. So, yeah.
Seems that way.
Hmm. It's a curious thought to me to know what we have in Canadian woods because you hear skinwalkers, you hear like all these different kinds of cryptids in the US, like loads of them. But the accounts in Canada, it just seems like well there was an account in Ontario of a kid who got attacked apparently by a dog man recently. Got
When I
taken down.
hear these stories,
Yeah, yeah,
I want to see proof because
yeah.
some kid's getting attacked.
Hmm.
That kid ain't going to be around to tell a story. These are
Yeah.
interdimensional beings that can rip you to shreds just like
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of bullshit put out there, and I think it's done
Hmm.
on purpose to keep us in fear and
Yeah.
keep us
I would
away from
agree. Yeah.
trying to interact with this stuff. Or
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of lies interjected into this whole
Yeah.
thing.
I wonder why the Sasquatch though say that the dogmen are they said that they were bad?
Well, I asked if they were
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Or no, I asked if they were good. I said, "Are they good?" They wrote no.
No. Yeah. That's a curiosity to me.
I asked if they were their people. They wrote no. And then I said, "Are they good?" They wrote no.
I wonder if there's like a little bit of a war between them, you know? Or this is like our hood, that's your hood.
But I've also asked, can your people turn into other like animals,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
shape,
It's a good question.
basically? And they said no. So I've heard stories where somebody
Hmm.
said they've witnessed human prints, and then suddenly it's canine.
Hmm.
So and you hear this shapeshifter story. So
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Are they? Do they fully understand my question, or
Hmm.
like some stuff? It's like,
Hmm.
okay, well, I've heard this and that, and so I'm still kind of up in the air trying to figure certain things out, right?
Hmm.
But I do my best to
Yeah.
be very objective, and I've kept this as real as I can, from
Hmm.
day one, right?
Yeah.
If it's speculation, I'll say it. If it's conviction, I'll say it
Mm.
because from experience, I know.
Right.
But
Do you think if there was ever like the time when we didn't have, well, when the grid would go down, let's say we have a big enough solar flare, like what happened in the 1800s, um, that they would come out and communicate more? The removal of AI, the removal of technology, it would just be us and nature.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I remember one time I um, I mentioned Dwayne. I said, hey, if everything goes to shit, you got Neff's family there. They'll help you out.
Mhm.
And and then he was given a telepathic message later on that night about wooden phone. And there was a wooden phone on the wall. We went and looked, and there's a marble sitting on it. And I knew, like, that could be a moose or a deer for food. They can tell
Oh,
you they can tell you where stuff is.
oh, I see.
Yeah,
So they were saying,
they can guide you and help out that way, right?
right.
Make sure you get food and water and whatever.
That's amazing.
That's how I saw it.
Hmm. That is amazing. I wonder if you ask them if they know that, let's say what's coming down the pipeline in the future, if it's going to be you know, a large percentage of the
Cataclysmic
pop,
event.
yeah, enough to remove a massive amount of the population.
I think that's going to happen. Billions
Hmm.
are going to be
Yes,
wiped out. That's my thought.
yes. And if it is going to be, if there's some connection to a meteor or, something large enough, I wonder if you could ask them that and see what they say.
Yeah,
Bec-
no, I plan on asking that.
Yeah, because I think they would know.
I remember once I was in Cuba on holiday. This is probably a couple decades ago, and I had this premonition dream. I've had a couple of them in my life, and one was actually after was it after 9/11? Maybe about a week later or something, and there was a plane that went down, I believe in Queens, and there was parts on, plane parts everywhere on
Mm.
people's front.
Oh, yeah.
I saw this. I was standing on a front lawn and saw this happen, but I saw a pipe bomb in the dream. They never ever said what caused that plane to go down, but I had this premonition and I saw that.
Mm.
And then I actually, or maybe it was a few weeks later, because I remember telling people at work, so I think this is going to happen. And then it did. I thought, what's wrong with Mike? And then, but I had this one in Cuba, and I remember I was standing, um, and everything around me was on fire, and there was two massive meteors basically going through the air, fireballs, massive, two of them, and I remember, they were cataclysmic meteors. I looked up and clear as day. This was so clear in my mind, and yeah, and I was standing, and I wasn't touched. I was fine, but everything around me was on fire. Everything was burning. That was like, that was weird, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's going to be something like that. Yeah. And I think they would know. They would know.
Yeah,
And maybe they don't want to scare us, but there's many of us that do know because we do have prophetic dreams. We do have, a knowing and a vision. So, and I think they know that we know.
yeah. Sometimes that stuff shows up in our
Hmm.
psyche.
Yeah. Have you,
How, I
yeah.
don't know. Sometimes it does.
In your dream, or like that, I would call that a prophetic dream. In your prophetic dream, when you saw them going across the sky, were you in Ontario at that point or were you somewhere else?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I think I don't. No, I have no
Yeah.
recollection of where I was.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I think it's going to be a worldwide,
But
you know.
it was one of those knowing dreams.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you think at that point that they're just going to pop out of this reality and go somewhere else and not have
Not
to go through the cataclysm?
not a clue. I don't know.
Do they ever tell you about these civilizations inside the earth?
I have asked them more recent about. Can't remember how I worded the question about inner Earth
Yeah.
civilizations. excuse me, they confirmed that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they said yes. Yeah.
Admiral Byrd, there's, wish I could get hold of that diary,
I know.
they've hidden that from us, that whole, Antarctic treaty. And, they don't want us going over there. Oh, you can go to the Antarctic. Again, these humans, oh, you can go. No, you can go to a tiny little spot. Sure, you
Yeah.
can.
I
Yeah, you
know.
try and cross over certain places, the military will either escort you out very quickly or you'll disappear.
Or yeah, escort you out permanently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean I had somebody who was saying that they're going to go on a trip to Antarctica and they're so excited about it. I said, "You're not going to Antarctica." I said, the all you're going to see is exactly like you say, just a small tiny little area where there's ice and that's it. You're not going to Antarctica." So, yeah, and apparently, yeah, I think it's just insane. It's insane, but there's architecture there of an ancient civilization, and I'm sure the Sasquatch know about that.
Oh yeah, they would know.
Mm-hmm. You never asked them about that?
Um, it's a matter of wording questions
Yeah.
properly, having, yeah, so I haven't really,
Mm-hmm. I think they went underground in Antarctica because I think they knew that a large enough event was going to happen that they would no longer be able to live above ground. I think there's tons of architecture there left,
yeah, I
tons
mean,
of evidence. Hmm. Yeah. And I think that's part of also, you know, the Admiral Board, what he discovered. Well, we'll never know, really. What we know is next to nothing.
yeah,
The info that came out, you got to wonder, right? Whenever they allow info to come out, how much of it is actually factual and how much has been distorted purposefully.
yeah, because from what I'm gathering, basically everything they've taught us is lies. And it's
Everything.
the whole indoctrination to brainwash for us to think a certain way. And
Hmm. Yep.
at least, some of us are waking up to that. It seems about 80% of the population is completely dumbed down, asleep. And
Hmm.
they look at us like we're crazy, but it's the other way around.
Maybe you could ask Neff if all of the different blood types and blood groups that are in the world, you've got your OA, if that has a connection to a unique alien lineage that is distinct. Like, yes, if the Anunnaki made everybody, but I don't believe everybody is a result of that. I think that there are different races connected to different beings. Maybe that's something you could ask.
Yeah,
Did you ever ask him about Mars?
it was interesting. They wrote no Mars. That's what they said.
Oh, that
I
is
don't know what that means,
interesting.
but they wrote no Mars.
Wow.
Have humans ever gone to Mars? I think I asked something like that. They
Yeah,
wrote no Mars.
interesting. What about the moon?
Um, yeah, I don't really asked.
Yeah, no.
No, I
What
haven't
about
really asked.
life on other planets?
Um, haven't really gotten into that.
Yeah. I mean, there is so many questions you could ask, but I think also there's a consideration to them. Like I understand, like you wouldn't want to just keep asking and asking.
And I do. I
Yeah.
ask questions, but a lot of stuff doesn't get answered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sometimes they answer nothing,
Yep.
but that's right. Usually I get something.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see the questions you've asked that you didn't get an answer to, because I feel like if you collect all that information, it would tell you a story of the kind of information they won't go into.
And it's not necessarily that I won't get answers. I may just have to word things in a different way, like I did with, who created humans?
Right.
I got no response. Did the Anunnaki create humans? Yes.
Right. Yep.
So it's
Hmm.
hard to say.
Yeah. This is brilliant. Did you want to say anything else? Because I think I've kept you for quite
Yeah,
a
it's
while.
a couple hours again.
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
I gotta go jam with my buddy.
Anything else you want to say?
Plug him in tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
it's
little,
fun. It helps keep me balanced,
yeah.
cranking up through one of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They like music, right? They love music.
They've actually shown up at my buddy Larry's. There's been two incidents happened there, and then we had this rehearsal spot in Etobicoke, just west of Toronto, West End,
Hmm.
and there was numerous incidents over the years there. I even remember I captured a Sasquatch type vocal on my little audio recorder one night. It's
Oh.
like that's none of us. It was just kind of like a,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah. That's
that's
funny.
not us. That's none of our voice. And then the one time we called it the shit monster. And that was just a putrid smell showed up, and it was there for a couple minutes, and we're all freaking out, and then it's gone. There was a time that the four of us were standing in a circle between jams, having a drink, talking, and right in the middle of us, a 10-cent piece appeared about 4 or 5 feet off the ground and dropped to the floor. We all saw it happen. There was
Yeah.
other numerous incidents of stuff appearing. I have one video of some orbs flying around the room, like really cool looking
Oh,
orb
wow.
activity. So yeah, they show up.
Yeah.
When they've shown the last incident at my bass players where I'm going tonight. So I have a guitar cabinet beside me that doesn't, it's not getting used. I'll put my beer on it, kind of thing. And when we're taking a break, I'll take my guitar pick and I put it on top there all the time. And in between, when I put
Mm.
it away, I put it in, weave it in my strings and my guitar, put it in the case. So I take my guitar out of my case, take my pick out of the strings and close my case up, latch it up, uh, stick it up against the wall, standing up in between a couple of guitar cabinets. And this one night, I put my pick down. It's just sitting there on top of the guitar cabinet. And the three of us, drummer, bass player, myself, are talking. There's no sound going on except us talking. And suddenly I hear the pick hit the floor. And I immediately, it's like, well, that's weird, man. It's like, that just did that by itself because I know how it's sitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got, there's some gear around there. So I took my time and I looked for that pick. It was gone. So,
Wow.
um, Larry gives me another one. And, I had more in my guitar case in
Mm-hmm.
this little thing that folds down, where you keep strings and that, but I just left it. So when I went to put my guitar case away, or put my guitar away in the case, I open it up. There's the pick loose sitting in the case. So it showed up
Yep.
inside the locked case. It
It's
was
funny.
nowhere on the floor. And then another time there, I have this wah pedal, this
Mm-hmm.
pedal part that goes up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And this piece of green cedar was placed underneath where the way it was placed they're very smart how they do things. It's like, okay, if I went out in the backyard and it was stuck to my shoe,
Yeah.
come in, it would end up on top of the pedal falling
Yeah.
off the shoe. It's not going to go underneath at this specific spot. And it did. I see this piece of green cedar. And I was like, well, that's impossible. Um, there was a few incidents over the years there. Like I lived there too for a while, and then in Brampton at my buddy Kyle's, there was all kinds of stuff that went on there. So it doesn't matter where I go,
Yeah.
it shows up. The activity
Interesting.
shows up with me. It follows me.
Have you ever brought the guitar in to the woods and played music for them?
Not the guitar. I bought this really expensive um, bass flute. Uh,
Oh.
Brought that a couple times.
Oh, wow.
Um, I actually just picked up another acoustic guitar because I haven't had one for a long time. Just I don't know. I like the electric, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not bringing an electric guitar into the woods, but
Yeah, yeah. But the flute, did they like that?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
would, I would think so. If it's
Yeah.
musically related, I'm sure that they enjoy that.
That's phenomenal. This has been amazing, Mike.
And when you're doing the music thing, like don't we don't do covers. We
Right.
we improv.
Oh, okay.
It's spontaneous. Start something.
Yeah.
Uh, we write original stuff.
Mhm.
We work on original stuff. So there's a big difference in frequency and vibration, I think, in
Yeah.
playing your own stuff compared to
Mhm.
else. Although, like still, if you're nailing a cover tune, I'm
Yeah.
sure, of course it feels good, but when it's your own stuff, I think there's a even higher level of vibration that comes with that. So it's,
So the only time they stayed away was the time when your frequency was not harmonized because you were going through so much stuff. And so
I don't
that
think
was
they stayed away.
no, but
No,
like
it was just the visits had stopped
yeah,
at Queen's Cottage for a while, but
yeah,
they were still, I was still making visits up there,
right.
and they were still showing up. Like I took
Mhm.
my friend Sonia. We were at a cottage for a week up there, and
Yeah.
there's she actually relayed the
Ah.
experiences that went on, which I posted on a video on my channel.
Mhm. Right.
So yeah, they were still showing their presence. It's just when Dwayne and I are together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this has been amazing. Um just yeah, love your work. I think it's I think it's very vital. And I think what you bring to the table is very unique. And I'm looking forward to showing everybody the pictures of their drawings and their language, you know?
yeah. Just send me a list so because I get
Yeah.
a bit scattered sometimes,
Yeah.
a whole bunch of stuff. So
Yeah, I will absolutely do that. It's been fantastic, Mike.
all right, my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right, no problem, Laura. You're welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.